answer any questions. This lined up really well with Rob Gray being there. Rob is one of the best, if not the best, personal recruiters in the company. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And I'm going to kick it over to him to give you guys some tips as well. But, you know, I appreciate you guys taking the time today, and hopefully we can add some value to you. Okay. So if you don't know, I've been with the company for about over 12 years. I started with Straith Smith Agency out of Ohio. I was an agent, SAGA, MGA, RGA. I was an SGA in Indianapolis, Indiana. And my long-term goal has always been to move up in the corporate ranks. I got that opportunity about 5 years ago, where the corporate offices brought me in to do all of the laptop training and sales. That's when the laptop presentation was being rolled out. Then did director of recruiting for a couple of years, worked alongside Bo Gentile, and most recently did the Impact rollout, ran that team. So who came to see you guys? You guys had Zach and Ernie, or Brian and Ernie?
Zach and Brian.
Zach and Brian. Okay, great. So you had them two as well in the Impact rollout. So, and then July 1st, the company approached me to step up and be the vice president of recruiting, as Bo Gentile has earned himself another promotion in the Torchmark now to be senior vice president and overall of Torchmark's recruiting. That's kind of a little bit about my background. So, you know, as I said before, I don't know if there's anyone who's been to more American Income offices than I have in the last 5 years. And when I'm in an office, I'm always there to obviously add value. But when I'm there, I always have a second thing that I'm trying to do. Can anyone guess what that is?
I'm sorry?
What's up?
Trying to observe how they recruit and what they do?
Yeah, I'm there to steal. Okay? Not like physical possessions or anything, but I'm there when I'm in these other agencies, and I've been blessed to be in some of the largest agencies in the company, or the largest. You know, I'm there to really assess when I'm in an agency, where if an agency is strong in one area, be it personal recruiting or overall recruiting or training, or, you know, I want to see what are they doing well. So when I'm in another agency, I can really give them that information and give them those tips. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So the information that I'm going to share with you, I'm not big on saying here's what I did or here's what I would do. I'm big on saying here's what the top agencies in the company are doing today, that if you want to succeed in this business, then you should consider doing, because they're doing it and it's working for them. Is everyone good with that?
Yes.
All right, great. So the first thing I've noticed when it comes to recruiting, this is really important, is in anything in life, you can't change the way people act until you change the way people think. Okay? Would you guys agree with that statement?
Yes.
Yes.
You can't change the way people act until you change the way people think. So when it comes to recruiting, we can give you systems all day. Here's a script. Here's how you do it. But the first thing when it comes to recruiting is mindset. Okay? It's your mindset towards recruiting and really how you approach it. Okay? So I want to share with you guys a couple kind of statistics that I think would be relevant to you. And just, you know, the first thing to understand is what we do in American Income is truly unique, because in other companies, if you owned a business, which everyone here is a business owner, just with a lot of support, is that if I owned a business, a retail shop or a restaurant, and I wanted to bring someone on to help me run that business or help me with that business, I would have to pay them money, right? And if I was the owner of the business, where would that money come out of?
In our pocket.
Profits.
My pocket, the revenues of the business, right? So the more people I wanted to hire, the more money I'd have to pay them. So I could only hire so many people until I grow the revenue of the business. And if I really wanted to hire someone sharp to be in a management role and really kind of take some pressure off me to have to be there from sun up till sundown, would I have to give them more money or less money? More, right? All coming out of my pocket and the revenues of the business. Well, the great thing about American Income and our company is we have it set up a lot different, meaning you can properly recruit, train, and develop as many people as you want. Okay? And does it come out of your revenues? No. It actually, what does it do to your revenue? It adds to your revenue. And what I can promise you is Steve Greer, the CEO of our company, he's never going to call you and say, hey, you're recruiting, training, and developing way too many people up there in Boston area. We're paying you way too much in leadership bonuses. We need you to slow it down a little bit. Do you guys think that call is ever going to come? No, it will not. So the first thing is understanding this is a truly unique company and a truly unique business structure, okay? The second thing is if you could write these two numbers down. $171 and $957. My man in Maine with the hat on. Can you take notes with your hands crossed? Oh, you got your phone? All right, just making sure. I figured you knew something we didn't or some skill you'd share with us.
Yeah.
All right, what do you guys think? Those numbers mean? Take a guess at it.
Codes we got for the year?
What did you say?
The amount of codes we had for the year?
Okay. Anyone else? Good guess. Nada? All right. So does everyone in the room, show of hands, do you know when you're booking appointments for the field, what your ALP per appointment set is? Does everyone know that number? It's usually like 80 to 100, maybe even a little bit more. Okay, great. So 171 is your ALP for every interview you set in your agency. So that is based on your guys' sets to hire, meaning how many sets it takes you in the Fisher agency to get a hire. Then it's based on your hire to code, and then it's based on the average ALP per code. So all those things are taken into consideration. Okay, so the average interview you book for your team production as a manager is 171 ALP per interview set. Is that better or worse than booking appointments?
Better.
Better, right? I don't know many people in the company that average that for appointments. The second number, 957, that's ALP per person per seat in your group room. Okay? So, we run a, group interview and we run what, 2 a week? Do you guys run in each office? Okay. So if you run 2 a week, the average ALP, meaning when you put someone in that seat every week, it's worth $950. So it's basically $1,000 in ALP to your team if you can put someone in that seat. So as you're building your agency, whether you're an SA, a GA, an MGA, look at it like what you stand to gain. To where if my, group room could seat 10 people, every seat in there is worth $957 ALP for every group. Okay. So on a yearly basis, if you fill 1 seat for every group for every year, that's 99,485 ALP. So let's just round up and call it 100,000 ALP to your team. So as you are a manager, if you could fill 2 seats a year for every single group, you're gonna get an annual basis $200,000 of team production. If you can fill 4 seats, 2 groups a week for the entire year, guys, that's going to be $400,000 of production. Has anyone ever looked at it like that?
Nope.
So the way I thought when I was in the business and the way I see successful MGA, RGAs, SAs, GAs right now, the way they think and act is they're very competitive. They're competitive with themselves and with the rest of their agency and saying that like, listen, if you, Mr. MJ, or you, other manager, don't want to put people in the seats, I will, because they see what they stand to gain off every time that they put someone in a seat, that they set an interview, that they put someone in a group interview. Okay. So first thing is a mindset. We got to start approaching recruiting. I get the tough part is, I'll set an interview today. They'll come in tomorrow, be hired sometime this week, go through the licensing process, go through training, code, right? Now I get it. It's a longer ramp up than it is setting appointments, which is sometimes why we struggle a little bit more with the mindset piece. But you really need to understand the gain in recruiting is the best way to build your business and to be profitable in our company. Okay, does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
You guys good on that? Okay. So the next tip I'll give you is this. When I look at agencies and managers doing really good with recruiting, there's something I've noticed about all of them. Okay. And on the flip side, when I see managers whose team is usually like stagnant, isn't growing a lot, they're kind of spinning their wheels, there's something that I see them do as well. Okay. What people do that tend to underperform or struggle in the recruiting is they usually find like typically one or at the most two recruiting avenues that they're like the most comfortable with or they're the best at, and that's all they do. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay. Where if I'm really good at personal recruiting, a lot of times it's all I do. I don't want to make the RMS calls. I don't want to have a paid caller. Or, it's easy for me to just have an RMS paid caller, and I'm just going to do that, throw some money at it, and hope that a $10, $12 an hour person can build my business. Or I'm good on Craigslist ads, or I found a job board that works, or an outside recruiting company. Okay? Guys, I talk to many people in our company that have outside recruiting companies, and they're the first ones that tell me, never depend on one recruiting avenue. Okay. So my recommendation, if you want to jot this down, is every single week, you need to have at least 3 different recruiting avenues. Every single week, you need to have at least 3 different recruiting avenues. Okay, so that is the key thing. When you go in, you talk to these bigger MGA, RGAs, and if you were to ask them, what are you doing in recruiting? They will not give you one response. There will be multiple different things that they're doing every single week to drive good results. Okay, so let's kind of talk about that. So out of the 3, there's typically two ones that are pretty consistent, should be pretty consistent week to week. Who knows what those are?
PRs.
Personal recruiting, and someone said is RMS, right? So personal recruiting and RMS, okay? So let's talk about, real quick, personal recruiting, okay? Number one, why does it work so well? Well, very simply, and you've heard this before, guys, but personal recruiting representatives have twice the tenure and produce twice as much over that time. Okay, so it's just really, it's pretty simple. It's comparing apples for apples. I'm going to get someone who's going to stay twice as long, and while they're here, produce and outperform twice as much. Okay, so very, very important. And I want to give you guys statistics if you want to write this down. This is a challenge for the Fisher agency, for the managers. 13. Okay, that's the amount of active personal recruits in your agency as of the most recent personal recruiting report. So 13. Everyone know who Arias Agency is?
Yeah.
Okay, right now probably gonna win Category 1 this year, contention for SGA of the Year. They have 212 active personal recruits in their agency. Everyone know who Saray Smith is? Won Category 1 last year. Second biggest producing agency and doing all out of little old Ohio. 214 active personal recruits. Everyone know who Dustin Benkamp is from the Altig? Dustin, he was SGA of the year last year. He'll probably, either him and Simon will win it again this year. He's just been absolutely killing it these last 3 years. And he was basically a startup pretty much. 159 personal recruits active in his agency. So what does that tell us? Well, if we want to get to that Category 1 status and really, really blow it up, what do we got to do? We got to get more personal recruits in the door. Okay, it's the best way to build our business. So you're an SAA or your business. It's the fastest way to grow it because personals can be quick, the retention's good. So how do we do that? You guys have Rob Gray there, who is basically an expert at personal recruiting, especially, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but in the Boston market.
Yes.
So once I'm done, I'm going to transition to him. He's going to go over some of the how-to. But just a couple tips on this. You know, we have Career Night coming, okay? Career Night is a way for active managers and agents to bring would-be people looking for a new career change, right? Okay? So we have some tips and stuff we'll send you guys. But the thing to note is the reason why we do Career Night is not only to spark personal recruiting in an agency, but also with the understanding that if you have an agent on your team and they personally recruit someone, their agent retention goes up by 6 times, 600%. So who in there would like to retain more agents? Okay, there's a couple that wouldn't. That concerns me. But unless you're really good at it, then we need you to come to the next SGA meeting and run a breakout session on it. But if that's your goal is to retain agents, which obviously it is, right? You know, how do I do it? Well, training's important, and I know Rob's going to go over F1 and F3 with you guys when I'm done. But also, I mean, you know, understanding that, man, if I can go over the vision, sell the vision, talk about it, talk about where I see this person with the company, and go over personal recruiting with them. If they bring someone in, we like them, and they like us, and we hire them, then they have a 600% better chance statistically of keeping that person with our company. So to me, that's powerful stuff. So when it comes to Career Night, have a successful Career Night, not only to kind of get a shot in the arm on personal recruiting and create some really good momentum for the fourth quarter, but also do it and promote it and do well, because it's going to help you retain all of your newer agents as well. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay.
Yeah.
Another tip on personal recruiting in today's day and age, guys, is if you want to excel at personal recruiting, Rob's going to go over the script, how you approach people, all those things. But understand your brand and your online presence is really important in today's day and age. Not only from the agency as a whole, but also you personally. Okay? If you're trying to personal recruit people in your circle of influence, so whether it's a friend or a friend of a friend, you know, take a look at, you know, what your social media is doing. I see a lot of the top personal recruiters in the company, they've created a very good brand for themselves. Okay? Does anyone know the average amount that companies spend on their marketing and branding out of the revenues, the percentage?
25%.
25%. Yep. So it's a lot of money put into branding. Why? Because it's important. So I'm not telling you guys to hire a marketing expert and do all that stuff. I'm just saying, you know, don't discount the importance of your brand. What are you posting on social media? Will people want to follow you? Do you post negative things, political things? Those aren't going to help you with attracting personal recruits. There should be some things on there showing your success. You should be positive. All those things really help when it comes to like branding. And then also make sure you guys all collectively as a management team help out with the agency brand, okay? There's 4 big sites that you guys want to make sure, and I would just Google it for your agency or Google it for your office, okay? I know your name's not on the door, but at the end of the day, if you're booking interviews and your online presence is bad, people aren't going to show up for those interviews, and it hurts you. So it's Google. Google is a consumer review site. Okay, so there's a game plan, there's a video. We've sent it out if you need it again, but it's very simple. After you enroll clients, if they're happy with their experience, you have the link saved on your phone. You have them click the link and ask them if they wouldn't mind posting a positive review for your agency on Google. Very simple. I've done enough paperwork to know that there's some downtime when you're wrapping up a sale. Keeps them busy, get the positive review out there, and helps the Google review. So there's Google. The number one interview and your candidate review site is going to be Glassdoor. American Income gets 4 times the amount of visitors to our Glassdoor account that we do our website. Okay, 4 times. Okay, so it gets a lot of hits. So Glassdoor, Indeed is another one that gets a lot of reviews. For those 2, there's something called Bird Eye, which you guys should be using in every office. Interview comes in, someone logs their information, name, phone number, and email. 2 hours later, they get a text message or an email from us saying, please rate your experience with American Income. They rate it 7 or above, it's positive. And once it's positive, it says, hey, would you like to post about your positive review on Glassdoor or Indeed? So it prompts a positive post. If it's 6 or less, if it is a negative review, then it says, hey, please tell us how we can get better. And then your SGA is going to get that information. So, you know, we can always coach on improving our systems, whether it be our training and taking that feedback constructively, but also it's going to decrease any negative reviews because it's not going to go on the web. So most people, when they post a negative review, it's usually only once. So it's meant to kind of capture the negative review and influence more positive reviews. So if you're not using that, reach out to me. Let Laura reach out to me. Thumbs up means you're probably using it. And then last one's going to be like your Facebook page. So just make sure Facebook looks good. I know it does. Laura does a good job with it for your agency, but any other, you know, if you guys have an Instagram or anything like that. So branding is really important to personal recruiting. And like I said, when I kick it over to Rob, I'll go over the how-to. All right? So that's number 1. Number 2, RMS. Okay? Steve Greer says this, but RMS is the staple that is stable in recruiting. RMS is the staple that is stable in recruiting. So if you were to walk in any of the largest offices in the company, you're going to see that they're doing the personal recruiting. They're doing other sources. But you will notice that every single one of these offices is maximizing their RMS leads that they have, RMS candidates that they have. Okay? So when it comes to RMS, there's 2 ways you could approach it. You could throw time at it, you could throw money at it, or you could do both. Does everyone know what I mean by that? Because I could personally call it, I could have a paid caller, I could do both. So I want to talk to you about that a little bit. Okay? Let's talk about, first things first, paid callers. Okay? Let's talk about paid callers. Real quick, if I have a paid caller for 15 hours a week, okay, and I'm paying them $12 an hour, how much does that cost me?
$180.
180.
180, okay? If you didn't know this math, you guys can write this down so you have it. If you're an essay, that costs you $503, 503 ALP to do that. So 503 ALP to have a paid caller. If I'm a GA, it's 462. If I'm an MGA, it's 426 ALP. Okay? So my thought process is this. Number 1, What do successful businesses do first with the profits of the business?
Reinvest.
They roll it into their
Reinvest.
business.
Always reinvest in the business. So again, if you guys are a business owner, and this is your opportunity, so it depends what you want to do with it. But if you want to recruit strong and become a top SAGA, MGA, RGA with the company, okay? If you're an MGA doing about 25 grand a week, you're going to make 35 a week or $175,000 a year in upfront money. Not to mention the billing you're doing of your account. Okay. So to me, that didn't sound like a bad gig. And once I got to 20-25 a year, I'd go in the field when I wanted to versus had to, which again attracted me. Okay. So it depends how quickly you want to get there. Okay. But my thought process was, man, every single week I need to invest back into my business to grow my business. How do we do that? Recruiting. So that's the cost. So here's the thing. 400 to 500 ALP is going to be 4 to 5 appointments booked from you for the field. Does everyone agree with that? At about 100 ALP appointments? But if I have a paid caller working 15 hours a week, they should be setting me 30 interviews a week, right? 2 an hour. I'd say anywhere from 22 to like 35 interviews. So let's call it 30. Okay? Is it easier for you guys to book 4 field appointments or 30 interviews?
4 fields.
4 fields.
4 field appointments, right? If you can book 30 interviews that quickly, let me know. Again, we might have you do a separate call for training for other agencies. But it's easier to do though, to book 4 field appointments, go out and write that business every week, reinvest that into recruiting to help grow my recruiting. Okay? So that's the first thing I'll tell you when it comes to that is understanding the money piece of recruiting, the investment side. All right? So right now, based on your guys' statistics, you can basically invest to build your business, okay? So right now, based on your guys' statistics, if you're getting a paid caller at 2 an hour, 2 sets an hour, with your current ratios you guys have as an agency, it's going to cost you $100 to get a hire and $431 to get a code. So that's not bad, right, to kind of build your business. Who in there is an MGA? Raise your hand. Okay. So based upon your ALP per code, if you want to write $500,000 in a year, you need to have 40.7 codes. Let's just call it 41 codes. Okay? So that's your number. Now, if I just wanted to build it as quickly as I could, it would cost me $41,000 of personal production to write, take that money and invest it into recruiting. If I wasn't getting any leadership bonuses, management overrides, nothing like that. Okay, but that would give me $500,000 a year in production, 41 codes. If I'm a GA, let's say you want to do 375, which is a strong GA, 30.5 codes a year is going to get you to that number. Personal production, you're going to end up writing about 33,000. And as an essay, if you want to do about 250,000, which is strong essay numbers, it's 20 codes. 20 codes, okay, which is about $24,000 in personal production. So that's how you guys kind of look at it as you're building your team. So if I'm only getting 1 code a month, or if I'm an MBA only getting 2 codes a month, you're not going to be building your team that strong. Okay, if you want to be a $500,000 MGA in your agency, you need about 41 codes. All right, so let's talk about paid callers. A couple tips on hiring them, training them, and supervising them. All right, and then I'll wrap this up and hand it over to Rob. So a couple things. When I have paid callers, I would recommend, depending on your market, anywhere from $12 to $15 an hour for them. If I'd post an ad 12 to 15, I'd start them at 12. still very profitable as long as they're doing a good job. And then I would review how they're doing after 30 days. If they're hitting 2 sets an hour with a 30% show ratio, bump them up $1 an hour to 13. It's still very profitable for you guys to do that. Give them another 90-day review. If they're still doing the same numbers, bump them up to 14. Give them another 90-day review. If they're doing it's still doing those numbers, bump up to 15 an hour. I'm telling you, sometimes we try to pay them as little as possible, and they do a bad job. We keep turning them over, having to fill their positions. We wonder why that's happening. Okay, so that's the first thing is. Next is going to be their training. Okay, so here's what I see what people do with paid callers. Not saying that anyone on this call is doing it, but just something to look out for. We hire a paid caller. We give them a script. We tell them to go in a dimly lit room. We give them some resumes and tell them to make calls. And then we wonder why they don't do a good job. Okay? And typically, we blame it on them, get rid of them, and hire someone else. And then go through the same thing with that person. So if that's what you're doing is getting rid of the paid caller, are you treating the symptom or the cause?
Symptom.
You're treating the symptom. What's the cause?
Poor training.
You, right? You're not, guys, you're rushing it. You're not properly training them. Think about it. If you were training your best friend, your brother, sister, to be an agent, okay, would you phone train them?
Yes.
Yes.
You phone train them a lot. Would you have them memorize the script, go through the script, rebuttal it? You just role play. You got to do the same thing with your paid callers. So don't just hire them, throw them in a room. Have a structure. Have them shadow the best caller, or have them shadow you as you book several interviews to show them what's possible. And then what I do is I role play the script over and over and over again, a couple hours at least. And then I'll go in a separate office, have them call my phone, okay, and go through the phone script with them a bunch of times. And just, if they don't sound good, hang up, do it again. Hang up, do it again. Hang up, do it again. Give them the rebuttals. Give them an accurate representation of what's going to happen on the phones. So it takes time, okay? It takes time, but, you know, your guys in your position, you might want to audit this week, spending about 6 to 10 hours a week developing people. One-on-one, 6 to 10 hours. Take a look at that. And if I need to hire a paid caller one week, they're going to take up a decent chunk of that weekly development because they're going to help me build my business. Is everyone good on that?
Yep.
All right. Once you properly train, 5 tips on managing them. Number 1, attendance. Number 2, dials. Number 3, sets. Number 4 is show ratio. Number 5, show to the group. Those are 5 areas that I'm going to manage them to. Attendance. This sounds really, really funny, but if you're not there to really engage them in the mornings or making sure they start at the time, but you're paying them hourly, they're going to milk the clock. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You guys are independent contractors, and we need to hunt for our food. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sometimes you pay people hourly, they're getting fed either way. So you got to make sure that their attendance, make sure that they know if you're calling from 9 to 2, I need you making calls starting at 9. You know, give them a 5-minute break every hour. That's fine. Breaks are good. But make sure that they're not abusing the hours, meaning starting too late or ending too early. That's a big thing that I see a lot of callers getting away with because they're not being managed by it properly. Okay? Dials is number 2. We have a tool that we're building right now into Impact, where it's going to be almost like the same thing as your guys, my leads. It's going to be my resumes. You can create a login for your paid caller, send them the resumes, and you'll be able to see all their mobile activity. And if you guys didn't know, we're breaking it down to mobile activity. We're going to break it down to show total team activity on one report. You don't got to go person by person. And then we're also right after that, going to break it down so you can actually see it hourly too, because we know that's how the best way to drive phone sessions. So we're going to do the same thing with RMS callers, okay, with paid callers in the resume tool. But until that time, I would want to know how many dials they're making per hour. Now, if you have a certain phone system that allows for that, good. If not, an easy thing to do, and I can send it to you guys, is a simple sheet that accounts. They just circle A, B, C, or D. Every call. A is appointment set. B is a bad phone. C is a callback. And D is doesn't want the interview. So it's A, B, C, or D. They circle it. They tally it up every hour. At the end of every hour, I'd want a text message from my paid caller. How many calls did you make? How many people did you talk to? How many appointments did you book? At least initially, first month, 2-3 months, until I know that they're doing well. Even if I'm in the office, because you might be busy doing something else, right? So I want to know how many calls you made, how many contacts, and how many sets. If you need numbers to measure them by, we typically expect about 25 to 30 calls an hour. You guys agree with that?
Yes.
On average, we usually talk to about 16 to 18% of the people as far as picking up the phone. 16 to 18%. And we book anywhere from 30 to 40%. So I always like having those numbers so I can manage them by it. So if an hour goes by and you have a paid caller that made 30 calls, talked to 10 people, and booked one, what do you think is the best use of your time in the next hour? What are they saying on the phone? If you talk to 10 people and booked one, something's broken, right? Or if they made only 15 calls that hour, then I'd want to talk to them about increasing their calls. Or if the numbers don't line up, if they're telling me they're making all these calls and talking to all these people, but they're not getting the sets, they're probably fudging the numbers. They're making the numbers up. That's why you want to know what numbers to manage them by and kind of the averages you should be seeing so they can't do that to you, okay? Number 2 is dials. Number 3 is sets. So again, they should be booking about 30 to 40. If they're really strong, hey, we'll take over 40% all day, as long as they're not misleading the candidate to show up. Meaning telling them we got an engineer position open, we got customer service, we got general manager, oh, you're in maintenance, we got one of those too. Oh, you're a doctor, yep. We need one around the office, all good there. So show up, they might walk in, but then once they figure out what it is, they're going to be angry and leave. So sets, I'd want 2 per hour. 2 per hour for sure. If they're not getting it, it's how many calls they're making or what they're saying on the phone. Those 2 things. Show ratio, you guys are right at about 25%. So that should be my minimum. I'd like them at 30%. If show ratio is broken, again, what are they saying on the call? How are they completing the call? And then the third one we don't talk about enough is your online reputation. So let's measure that. If you have a bad online rep, 70% of the younger candidates nowadays are doing an online review before coming to an interview. So if you don't have a good online reputation, you're going to miss that market, which is a pretty good, pretty big, sizable market for us. Okay. All right. Show ratio, and last is show to group. So show to group, meaning are they showing up after a first interview? Rob, are they doing first?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys are? Okay, cool. So if you're getting someone from a caller who's constantly, people are showing up, not know what the position's about, then look at it. They might be misleading them to show up. Okay? So those 5 areas. Is everyone good on that? That's how we manage them. Don't just throw them in an office and hope they do well. Also, when it comes to RMS, manage your time in recruiting. I know Rob's working with the Burlington office today, but guys, it's college football season. The 5-star and 4-star players in the country, who is recruiting them? The ball boy or the head coach?
Head coach.
Coach.
Head coach. So the reason that I always made recruiting calls is because I knew that I was going to be able to bring in a stronger candidate. Okay? A stronger candidate. And I knew that, I would supplement the paid caller recruiting. I'd get better at recruiting as well. And you should have a higher show ratio as a manager with the company. So that's extremely important. That's number 2, RMS. And then number 3, guys, and we'll wrap this up. The number 3rd avenue every week is just something outside of those 2. So what do we have nowadays? We have job boards. Okay? We have college recruiting, which is hit or miss, but I'm telling you, if you get into a good university and have a couple people do well, it'll open doors for you like nothing ever could. So college recruiting, look at career fairs. You can work with the career services. We have tips on that if you need it. Craigslist, obviously, I know a lot of you do that. Other career fairs outside of colleges. Social media recruiting. Now, social media recruiting, be it Facebook has ads, Instagram, Snapchat. There's a lot of social media recruiting opportunities out there to use that as well. And then anything other, there's other resume sources you guys can have access to. But a 3rd option every single week, sprinkle that in. Does that make sense, everyone? Good. All right. So to wrap this up, and I'll kick it over to Rob. Okay. Recruiting first is a mindset. Okay. It's a mindset. All right. If I were you, I'd understand mindset-wise that I'm getting 171 ALP for my team for every interview that's booked, and every seat in my group room is worth 957 ALP. So look at the opportunity. When it comes to recruiting, 3 legs a week. Personal recruiting is key to building a sustainable agency quickly. Second is the RMS. Throw time or money at it. The most successful managers do both. And then have a 3rd option, a 3rd avenue every single week. And you guys will be successful as it pertains to recruiting. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, let me just give you guys my email. Let's see if I can just text this real quick. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. If you have any questions or need any help or need me to send any resources, obviously you have Rob there, who's a beast. But if you need anything, feel free to reach out. We'll help you guys in any way you can, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Really appreciate your time today. Thank you much. Rob, I'll kick it over to you.
All right, bro. Are you staying on with us, or are you gonna opt out?
I got a meeting in about 14 minutes. I'm at the.
All right, bro. I'll send you the link to the cloud. Okay.
I know they're in the best hands. All right. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
bro.
you, everyone.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the fire today. It was awesome.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I'm not gonna. I could take hours to talk about what I want to talk about. I won't, but I'm gonna be here for the next 3 days. So I'm gonna finish up over the next 15 minutes to get you out of here by noon, because I know we're all on a timetable. But I am here all week, and I do want to do some personal recruiting this week for those that want to go out and get it done. Mike made a lot of great points. The first thing he said was the mindset that we need to be successful in anything in life, especially in our business. Our business is really simple. Simple doesn't mean easy. No one ever said it was easy, but it's very straightforward. I mean, you have 2 pipelines. You have a recruiting pipeline that you always keep full. That makes you sleep a little easier at night, right? Although we're all kind of type A's, we're all a little bit edgy, working on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. I get it. But that big pipeline will give you a sense of real purpose, because everyone in there is counting on you to show them a career. Am I right? Yeah. So that's what I think. I don't think of my pipeline as statistics and numbers. I got a couple hundred people in the pipe. I got 40 in the first bucket. I got 50 in the second, and I got another 60 in the training. I think about the individual lives that we can affect and help people grow. I mean, that's why they come here. I've been here 10 years. I started with Laura and Ryan back in Newton in 2009. I was their director back then, and I spent 3 years with AIL, and then I went to Liberty National with Roger Smith, our CEO at the time, and I was a senior vice president there for 3 years and just rebuilt the company. Really a small $60 million deal, but it was all on personal recruiting. It was in the South. You know, I had towns that got like 5 resumes a week. Yeah, 5. So personal recruiting was something I've always done. I had an agency here in Boston for 15 years. So I'm from here. I'm from North Reading. I live in Texas now. I've been out there about 6 years. And then I came back about 4 years ago to AIL. But I got to tell you, I personally recruit every day. It can't be something that you turn on and off. It just has to be part of you. And if you really want to make it habitual, you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start with a mindset. Everyone that you meet potentially could be a hire or a client, right? We know that. We've always thought about that. But the mindset I have now, we're making calls this morning. You know, if somebody is just adamantly not interested, but they've got good communication, it's, well, you know, who do you know that's you 2 years ago today? Does that make sense? Who do you know that might be a better fit for what I'm looking for? We've always got to ask people in any situation for referrals. And then when you get in the home and you're training folks, it's just natural. It's what we do, right? It's like tie downs all day long. But the personal recruiting mindset for me is all about being in the right place. You know, people always say, where do I create time to personal recruit? You know, you don't. It just happens during the day. So anyone that crosses my path during the day, you know, I'm evaluating. Do I like the way they walk? Do I like the way they act? Do I like the way they dress? Is there something about them that tells me they got a lot of confidence? You know, personal recruits should be a better quality candidate. You know, they write twice as much business and stay twice as long. I'm not saying they're dramatically different than somebody that comes through the door from the internet or RMS, but it's the way in which we hire them, and it's the relationship that we have with people. Once they get hired as a personal recruit, they feel special, right? And yeah, they might be a higher quality. They should be. If I'm going to go out and look for people, I'm looking for managers. I'm looking for people where companies have already spent a ton of money in developing their leadership skills. So I want to find people that have management experience. I want to go to car dealerships, malls, restaurants, business parks. I want to go to retail outlets. If I want to get started and want to get good, I'm going to go to a mall. It's like a fishbowl. I might not find my best candidates there, but Rich Correa's top GA, the number 4 GA in the country, and the top agent, made $250,000 last year. I found him at the Cherry Creek Mall in Denver. He was selling teeth whitener, you know, and now he's driving a Benz and wearing a Rollie. I mean, look, and that's just one guy. But if don't try to prejudge people by where they are. Look at them as where can they be a year or two from now? Do they listen well? Do they sound like they could, they could have some confidence in a home? Those are the people we want to recruit. So I've got a whole menu of places to find people. I mean, I literally go to car dealerships, nice car dealerships, and I sit in the customer service waiting area where there's free coffee and a nice leather couch. And people are just sitting there waiting for their cars. They got time. I got time. I'm there. They think I'm there getting my car. My car's out front. It's not being serviced. I'm there to recruit them. I go to business parks all the time, and I'll take some folks out this week, and we'll do it. I go to like the little coffee shops. You know, there's one right up here at the Cummings Center, the little Dunkin' Donuts there, where there's 2,000 people that work in that business park right off 121. You go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning or at lunchtime, you're going to get all kinds of employed people going down to get a quick cup of job. Am I right? And that's where you talk. So put yourself in position to meet some higher quality people. I go to business parks and honestly, I just go in and start talking to people in lobbies, or the doormen or concierge people or folks, that work at business parks. And, I run into people all the time that are there to interview. Right? They got the leather portfolio, what's in their resumes, right? Those are the people I'm looking to set that day. So I have places I go where I know I can get people to come in the same day I meet them. And then I got places I go where typically it's a 1-day or 2-day set. Does that make sense? So here's an acronym I want you guys to write down. It's really simple. It's CASH. I know you can remember that. Cash money, right? It's CASH, C-A-S-H. Not cash money, but just cash. And it's really simple. It's a simple acronym. I've used this for years Okay, and I'm not boasting, but I've recruited and hired more people than anyone at Torchmark, period. And again, I'm not boasting. I'm just saying I've been a student of the game for 25 years in recruiting, and now I run training actually for Torchmark, so it's not just about that. But CASH, compliment, ask questions, set the opportunity, and have some passion, okay? So if Calvin, if I meet Calvin, let's just say he's working at a car dealership and he's the finance manager. Those people are phenomenal to recruit. The guys and girls that are they're the ones that close the deals, by the way. They understand the numbers and they understand the sales side. It's kind of like us, right? We're consultants. So if I saw Kelvin at a car dealership, I might just walk up to him and say, hey, man, I love that tie that you're wearing. Is that like a Hermes or a Gucci or something that's pretty Versace? It's pretty sharp. You know, that's just a quick compliment. It's not canned. If I don't like the tie, I won't say that. I'll find something else I like about him. Maybe his shoes, maybe his belt, maybe it's the way he's walking or the Mont Blanc pen he's got. I don't know. I'm going to find something. But it doesn't have to be an accessory. It could be, again, the way they talk, they act. It could be he could be wearing a name badge with his title on it, right? But I want to compliment him. I want to make it really sincere and genuine and say, you know, Calvin, man, I really like that tie, bro. That's a nice tie. Is that like a Hermes or something? That's nice. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Are you one of the managers here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Do you like it or love it? Stop right there. That line has made me so much money throughout my career. Once I ask him a question, simply, do you work here? Are you a manager? I always follow it up. Do you like it or do you love it? I don't give them a choice to hate it or kind of like it. And most people, honestly, most people kind of don't like what they do. And some people really hate what they do. So if you give them the only two choices, like it or love it, right off the bat, you have leverage, right? They want to listen to you. You sound like you like what you do. I love it. So he might say, I like it. Well, if he says, I like it, I say, wow, man, your life's a little too short to put all this time in just for something you like. What would make you love it? And most of the time people say to me, you know, what would make me love it? Obviously, if I got paid what I'm worth or I made a little bit more money. Well, that plays right down our alley. Oh, really? So you want to get paid what you're worth and kind of control your own financial destiny? Does that sound about right? Okay. Well, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the opportunity. I'm going to say, look, I happen to work for a Fortune 700 firm. We're right down the road here on Middlesex Turnpike. As a matter of fact, we're looking to bring on a couple of new candidates for several different management positions we've got available and also some individual contributor roles. I don't know if you're a fit for either, but I'm willing to find out. What are you doing Tuesday at 11 o'clock? What are you doing Tuesday at 10? Whenever you guys set your interviews. Okay, so that's the pivot. That's the transition. I compliment, find something complimentary, right? Ask the very important question, do you like it or do you love it? And sometimes I'll leave them in there, and I'm sending you guys all this information on a PowerPoint. I've already sent to Laura and Ryan, so they have it. Transition statement is, look, you know, I don't know if it's intuition or maybe it's fate that our paths cross today, but I'd like to find out. My intuition is you could be a good fit for the company I work with. I'm not sure. Again, love to find out. Maybe it's fate that our paths cross today. I'm not stalking you at a car dealership. You won't think that. I promise you. But I am. Okay? You got to be like a shark in this business. So I gave you cash, CASH, compliment, ask questions, set the opportunity, have purpose, have passion. I can't really turn that on for you. I can help you bring it out, but passion has got to be something that drives you every day to want to be better. You know, I came to this company with a ton of recruiting experience, but I had no experience in insurance or training. And I've dedicated the last 4 years here on the training side because I don't want to be a one-trick pony. I want to know the training side and leadership development as well as I've ever recruited. And today I feel like I have, but it takes work and time and effort. And that's how you build credibility with people. But becoming a great recruiter is I think it's a must-have in this business. Because people drive ALP. Y'all heard that many, many times, right? You know, ALP doesn't drive people, but people will drive ALP. So without people, what are we talking about? Nothing. So if intuition, fate, and then again, have purpose, set the opportunity. You know, I've got a couple of my managers in town this week. Actually, Laura Fisher's going to be here on Tuesday. I believe that she is running a group overview, or I might say she's in town. She's meeting with several people that we've met over the past few weeks. So when they show up and see the lobby jammed, they understand why. You know, we've actually narrowed our list down. We've met a bunch of people over the past few weeks, and I'm actually bringing people in that I feel have the potential to be a fit for us. Not everyone's going to be a fit, and I'm okay with that. I tell people that. Not everyone's going to be a fit. I'm okay. I'm not looking for everyone. Again, this is a personal recruit. This is somebody I'm going to happenstance personal recruit. I don't know them, but I know them. I act like I know them. I act like we went to high school together, you know? Man, what have you been doing all these years? How you doing? That's my mindset. Does that make sense? So if you have that mindset, you become very familiar. And it's such a great rapport skill to be able to turn that on. When you guys walk in a home now, everyone on this call, you're money. I know you are. You wouldn't be on this call if you weren't money walking in a home. It's just natural. All right? Rapport is up. You're killing it. The table's hot as hell. You're sitting down. You're laughing. They're getting you something to drink. You got the kids put away. The TV's turned down. Everyone's focused because you love it. You know it's time. I need you guys to have that same mentality when it comes to personal recruiting. And you just can't develop it overnight. You got to get out there and get in front of people, shake some hands, right? Don't give people business cards. Just put, card readers are great. Smart card. I just have a picture of my business card in my photo album. I just text it to you. So let me set Kelvin now. So let's go back to the Kelvin series. So Kelvin, look, I don't know whether you're fit for either of the positions I have, individual contributor or more of a senior management role. Now, if I'm personal recruiting managers, I know he's a manager at the auto dealership. I wouldn't throw out the individual contributor. I'd say, look, I'm looking for a couple candidates. We just promoted 2 people out to Denver. So I know there's a couple of openings, Fortune 700 company, the 24th happiest place to work in America, actually ahead of Disney. I don't know how that happened because I always thought Disney was the happiest place in the world, and we're like 13 spots ahead of them, so that's okay. But, Warren Buffett is our major shareholder. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's like the second wealthiest man in the world. He flip-flops between number 2 and number 3 in the world in terms of wealth. He got about $90 billion, but he's our largest single shareholder. I mean, if you can't recruit off that, I don't know what to tell you. That's like money. That Warren Buffett is the oracle. But not everyone knows who he is, and I get that. But most people that we're going to personally recruit, that I want to recruit, know exactly who he is. He picks winners all day. So look, here's the deal. Again, I don't know that you're a fit, but I would like to find out. Let me go ahead. What does Tuesday look like? Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
You got to take time off?
Yeah.
Can you do that today? You can make sure you get the time off?
Yeah.
How far do you, this is important. I have a two rule tie down. How far do you live from the office? We're over Middlesex Turnpike, just by the mall, just past the mall. 30 minutes without traffic or with traffic? With traffic. So if you got to be here by 11. If you left at like 10:10 at the latest, I always throw out like an obscure like 10:10, right? I want them thinking like I'm thinking, details, right? So if you left by like 10 past 10, you'd probably be okay because I don't want you coming in all flushed. Coffee, you get a coffee in the morning, okay, walk the dog, drop the kids at school, whatever you got to do, dress to impress, right? Bring a resume or 2. But I want to detail their morning out, just really kind of casual. I'm not going to make it awkward. I'm not going to say because a yes to you is a no to somebody else. I don't need to put the guilt on them. I could say that, but I just don't really want to. I might say it. I don't know. It all depends. But what I do want to know is that he knows I'm mapping out his morning already. So I've got his morning already dedicated to coming in and meeting with us. You're going to have some no-shows. I promise you. I get them all the time. But the ones that show, we hire 50%. Think about that. Think about if you could get every agent of yours to get 2 people in group every week that were PRs. And they had 2 codes a month, or you had 2 codes a month. They had 2 PR hires a month. A couple grand, am I right? You got to get them thinking past the 1,000. Everyone's like, oh, that 1,000, that's kind of elusive. I might get one of those once a quarter, once or twice a year. No. You should be getting that every day a month. You should be getting a couple of PRs every month. As long as you know that it's okay to approach people. They say the economy is doing great. Look, most people aren't getting paid what they feel they're worth, and most people are actually miserable doing what they do. So I like to think I'm enlightening and helping people every time I talk to them. So we go ahead, we set Calvin for Tuesday at 10. I do the two rule close down on them, and then we go ahead and we move on. And I can shake and set 6 people an hour. That's my average. Good people, I can set probably 8 an hour if I'm hustling. If I'm out with one of you guys, I might set 8 or 9 just to show you some volume. But there's urgency, but it's not rushed. Does that make sense? There's urgency, but I'm not like scatterbrained. I'm not like all over the place. I've got urgency because I got things to do, but I'm not more important, or you're not more important than anyone else that you're talking to. You can never give them that sensation. I'm going to send you, like I said, you're going to get a copy of the PowerPoint. I got like 50 or 100 places you can go. You know, I go look at homes. I go test drive cars, service centers, hotels. Oh, my Lord. You know, at night, you get running with your agent. You get that last appointment in. You get that last sale for the evening. You know, all the hotels in most cities, and I'm like Mike, I travel everywhere. They're all together, right? Like you'll see a Marriott, a Hilton Garden Inn, a Courtyard, a Hampton Inn. They're restaurant row. They have hotel row, right? Stop into the hotels. Say, hey, you know, you don't have to say anything other than, look, you know, I stayed here last week. Hey, if you want to pick up a phone charger, an Apple block, and they all got them. They just, hey, do you have my Apple charger? Seriously, they all got a box of them, by the way. It's just a little thing on the side that if you look at, you know what I'm saying, those are like $40. But here's my point. My point to you is this, very simply. If you walk into a hotel in the evening, you're going to meet one of the night auditors, you know, the girl or the guy behind the counter. A lot of them are kind of like the enterprise car people. They're kind of younger, right out of school. A lot of people in New England go to college for hospitality, and you know that's like lodging. You get that, right? Restaurants and hotel management, right?
Yeah.
So you get a lot of young, upstart, degreed kids. I don't know if they're better or not. I kind of like them. And you know, hey, look, they're there late at night. It's like, look, do you like what you do or do you love it? Well, I don't really like it. I'm standing up on my feet all night. I'm gonna see about 4 people in the next 6 hours. You know, and I can't watch TV. So you get my point. That's a lay down. Those people are like shooting fish in a barrel. Does that make sense? So I'm here. We got the Burlington Mall. I go to Barnes & Noble to the self-help section and recruit out of there because people that are going to the self-help, I think, are pretty upstart. I go to Home Depot and Lowe's, the DIY people, do-it-yourselfers. I like those people. I'm going to go recruit those folks. Okay? Just get after it. Be passionate about it, and give your people a goal. If they don't have a goal, then it's just going to be something that's kind of cool to do, but they're not going to do it every day. You got to make sure they're doing this every day. You can find the time by people who cross your path. If I'm done with my last appointment, clock isn't over. I can go spend 20 minutes, go hit a couple of restaurants, go hit a couple of hotels. Go to, you know, Lowe's is open, I think, 24/7. I don't know how late they're open. But there's so many people to run into right now. Men's Warehouse, oh, my God, gold mine. Gold mine. So anyways, it's 12, right? A little bit after, my bad. So I wasn't going to take more than 20 minutes, but I'm here all week. Hit me up on my phone. Give me a call. Write down my number if you want to text me or call me, and we'll do some private one-on-one stuff. I'm here all week. So, you know, I'm staying in Woburn. So, look, I got nothing to do other than work here and go recruit. So hit me up, 254-424-2971, okay? And any questions from the group? Deb Small?
I'm good to go, man. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everyone's good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff.
This is like the recruiting week focus. Just stay on
Love it.
Rob, I just texted you my number.
Okay, man. Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Nice.
Good.